Hello everybody, today we're doing Mindhunter again. It's the last 2 episodes of season 1. There's only been 1 season of this TV show and there are 10 episodes in this season, so we're dealing with the last 2 episodes. If you'd like more exercises on this TV show, which is fantastic for phrasal verbs, which is why we have so many, please go to my website. There should be links here and there should be a link under the video. If there isn't straight away, there'll be one soon. And you can go to my website, that's skypelessons.com, Skype lessons with a hyphen. And you can find all of these TV shows, not just Mindhunter, but IT Crowd, Sherlock, lots of other ones, Harry Potter, Firefly, Westworld. There are lots of TV shows there where you can watch the TV show and do the exercises at the same time to practice your English. So if you're interested in buying the Mindhunter ebook, it's £6 and it's all 10 episodes. And if you're interested in phrasal verbs, please try the Advanced Phrasal Verbs book. It's not my book, it's by Cambridge University Press, but it's a very good book. And please try my Advanced Phrasal Verbs videos, which will be in the same playlist as these phrasal verb videos. It should be somewhere higher up the playlist. And I haven't quite finished it, but I've done 9 lessons on advanced phrasal verbs, and many of these phrasal verbs, if not all of them, are in those advanced phrasal verbs lessons as well. So if you like phrasal verbs, and you should like them, they're an essential part of learning English, then please try those videos or try these exercises. So let's get started. Now, the first one that came up in episode 9, the first phrasal verb to crop up, to come up in episode 9, was turn down. And if you turn someone down, you reject them or refuse their offer. So very often we use this with job offers. If you say he turned the job offer down, it means he didn't take the job offer, he didn't accept it, he refused it. But you can also turn someone down when they make you an offer. And if you turn them down, you refuse their offer. So all turn down is refuse an offer. It's the opposite of accept an offer or take someone up on something. Because take someone up on an offer is the opposite. It means to accept their offer. Take someone up on an offer. Yeah? So somebody might offer you a job and you might take them up on it. So there really are so many phrasal verbs in English. This is why it's so necessary to learn them. Now, if you say he goes by another name, it means he is people use another name for him. So I go by Mr. Skype Lessons online, but obviously it's not my real name. In real life, I go by the name David Nichols. So that's my real name. So you can use this go by meaning to be called. The next phrasal verb's an excellent one, to pan out. We use this one very often, it's very common. And if you have some kind of plans, but you're not sure about how those plans will end up, then you might use this phrasal verb, because you might say something like this. My son's having a birthday party tomorrow, we're all going to go go-karting, and I hope everything pans out okay. I hope the whole day pans out without any problems. So it just means to turn out, to work out, to play out. It's when you use this meaning to happen, to see how things happen, to see how something goes down as well. You can use it in a lot of different situations, yeah, I can't remember how it was used actually in Mindhunter, but perhaps it was about their investigation. They're investigating the motivations of serial killers, and we all want their investigation to pan out well, yeah, so that they can catch more serial killers. So it means to take place, to happen in a successful way. Things can pan out well, or things can pan out badly. Just like an event can turn out well, or it can turn out badly. Something, I don't know, it could be a performance at school and you can say the performance played out very well in the end, meaning the performance went well. The performance went down well with the audience. That would mean that it was successful as well. So very similar to go down as well. The performance went down well, the performance panned out well. So very common phrasal verb. Please, if you're still not sure, look it up in a dictionary and have a look at some of the other examples with that phrasal verb, because it's common. Okay, if you roll up your sleeves, nice easy one. just means this, yeah? But roll up could also be used like turn up, arrive. If you say he rolled up, they rolled up to the party in 3 limousines, it means they drew up outside the party in 3 limousines. They turned up in 3 limousines. So that one can also mean arrive, but roll up your sleeves, it just means that. And they also said to off yourself in this episode, which is a very informal phrasal verb. It's not a formal type. Remember that something like pan out can be quite formal, but off yourself is very informal. And to off yourself means to commit suicide. And so I think one of the serial killers, Ed Kemper, tried to off himself because he was upset that the FBI agent hadn't returned his, hadn't replied to his letters. And so he tried to off himself. I think he tried to slash his wrists, which means to cut yourself at the wrist part. To slash is always to cut. So that's a way of committing suicide. It's a way of offing yourself. But please remember that this is very informal. Don't use it in academic essays. Use it in speech. It's when we use most of the informal expressions. Okay, if you bring something up, you mention it. Maybe you want to mention something at the meeting and you think to yourself, right, I must bring that up with the boss. Yeah, I must mention it to the boss. I must bring that up with someone. So it just means mention. It's very common. Maybe your friend has just perhaps he's just split up with his girlfriend, and you're very careful when you talk to him. You don't want to bring up this fact because it will upset him, so you don't want to mention it. It's exactly the same as mention. Very common phrasal verb. The next phrasal verb, to lump something in with something else, or to lump something together with something else. It means to treat two completely different things as if they were the same thing. So I think in this episode, in this TV show, and no, it's not this one, it's another one called Manhunt, but they very often lump serial killers in with terrorists. And I think this is a little bit strange because, of course, a serial killer and a terrorist are two very different types of people. Their motives are extremely different. Serial killers are supposed to kill for random, irrational reasons, whereas terrorists are supposed to kill for political reasons. And so I think they shouldn't lump serial killers in with terrorists. I don't think it's helpful. But in another lesson I tried to explain this phrasal verb, and I used the example of tortoises and turtles. They are different animals, yeah? Turtles swim, tortoises walk. And so we shouldn't lump tortoises in with turtles, yeah? They're two different animals. Although they are quite similar in a lot of ways, and I can see how they're related in the family tree, maybe. Okay, if you happen upon something, then you come across something, or you stumble upon something. It means you find something by chance. Yeah, it's exactly the same as these two other phrasal verbs. Stumble upon, come across, and it's when you find something by chance. So if you're walking home and then you come across an old gold watch on the floor, you happen upon a gold watch. You stumble upon a gold watch. Now this one's quite formal, happen upon, although that's fine. Use it in academic essays. Come across is more everyday, although it's not informal come across, it's just more in the middle of formal and informal. And stumble on, I would say, is also quite formal, a little bit formal. Okay, if you perk up, you cheer up. It's exactly the same as cheer up. So the good thing about phrasal verbs is when you learn one, you very often have to learn more than one. You have to learn 3 or 4 which have similar meanings. So perk up and cheer up are almost the same. If you are in on something, please remember the in-on group of phrasal verbs, which I always say they have a clandestine relationship. They all mean something clandestine. If you listen in on someone's conversation, you're doing something naughty. You're listening to somebody else's private chat. If you walk in on someone, you're doing something naughty again. You're disturbing someone's private business. If you walk in on your boss when he's doing something clandestine, maybe he's kissing his secretary, you walk in on them. Yeah, and so there's always something clandestine here. And when you say to be in on something, it means if you are in on a secret plan, you are part of that secret plan. And I think they used it in Mindhunter. There was certainly an earlier, in episode 5 or 6, there was a murder, and there were 2 people who were in on the crime. In fact, there were 3 people. I made a mistake there. There were 3 people who were in on the crime. 3 people who were working together. Even though only one of them perhaps killed the poor woman, 3 people were in on it. 3 people tried to hide the crime and tried to cover up the crime. They tried to hush up the crime. So 3 people were in on it. Okay, last one here to go along with, exactly the same as to play along with. We could say play along with someone or go along with someone. Now, these 2 phrasal verbs, they could mean 2 very similar things. They could mean when you pretend to agree with someone, and so you just, here in Mindhunter there was a very good example. There was an interview between the FBI agent and the serial killer, and the serial killer pretended that he hadn't killed the woman, even though he definitely had. They even had a photo of him standing over the dead body. But the FBI agent went along with his lies. He played along with his lies in order to elicit, in order to bring out a certain, well, in order to bring out the truth, in order to understand exactly how the killer had felt when he killed the poor lady. So to go along with or to play along with, it actually means to consent to someone's idea or agree to someone's idea. Consent or agree, but it's when you don't necessarily agree, but you just pretend to agree and you pretend to consent to their idea. So if you go along with someone, you could just be agreeing, or you could be perhaps pretending to agree in order to get some kind of advantage. If you have any questions about that one, put them under the video, but please look them up first of all in Oxford Dictionary and you might get some good definitions. Now, to draw something up, you normally draw up plans, business proposals, you could draw up a report, you can draw up any written work, basically. You draw up written work, and it means that you make the first kind of copy, the first draft of the report. You would draw it up. You draw up a plan or draw up a report. I can't remember what the agents were drawing up, but I assume it's some kind of report of their investigation into the serial killers, and they had to draw it up for their boss. So you can draw up any kind of written work, and it's when you plan it all out so that you have everything laid out in front of you and ready. You know exactly what the report's going to look like. So yeah, basically do some kind of written work is draw something up. Now, if you turn something over to the police or the authorities, nearly always collocates in that way, or if you turn something intransitive, no object, full stop, but they're both the same. They mean give evidence to the police that will incriminate someone, or and this one also means give evidence to the police. So you can turn in evidence. You can turn evidence over to the police station, and that will help them catch the criminal. Remember that you can also turn someone over to the police and turn someone in, and that just means that you take a person to the police station, or maybe not take them, but you go to the police station and inform on that person. You grass them up. You snitch on them. So yeah, it could be a person that you turn over to the police, but it could be evidence as well. Okay, last phrasal verb here, because these aren't phrasal verbs down here. If you adhere to the rules, then you follow the rules, you obey the rules. This is a little bit like abide by the law, but abide by is for law and adhere to is for rules. So it's worth remembering, adhere to is for rules. Okay, in episode 10, there was a guy who said that the police were just grasping at straws, or I think they were saying the FBI were just grasping at straws. Now, if you're grasping at straws or clutching at straws, that's another one, it means you are trying anything because you have some kind of dilemma or problem and you need to find a solution to the problem. But the solutions that you're trying anything because you have no decent solutions. And so you're clutching at straws, you're grasping at straws. It means you're trying to use anything you can to solve a problem, but these are probably hopeless solutions. And that's the point about straws. The vision here, the image you need to think of, is of a drowning man trying to pull himself out of the river or out of the lake, and he's grasping at straws. Straws aren't very strong, and so you grasp at them and you pull at them and then they break and you go back into the water. And that's the idea, that you're trying to find any kind of solution to the problem, but they're rubbish solutions. They're not going to work, and so they're just straws. They're flimsy, they're not strong or rigid, and you're going to drown because these solutions will not help you. So that's quite common, that one. It's very idiomatic English, but it's a phrasal verb, to clutch at or grasp at, and it means you're in such a hopeless situation that you're trying anything to get out. Okay, if you've got a big speech in public, perhaps you need to make a presentation. If you get really nervous beforehand, so nervous that you stop speaking, we say you clam up. So when you clam up, you stop speaking because of nervousness. You can also say somebody dries up because the flow of words just stops because they're so shy or because they're so nervous. Remember that rivers and lakes can dry up as well because the flow of water stops. So dry up is when a flow stops in some kind of way, but the flow of words they dry up. You dry up when you're speaking in public. So anybody who's nervous about speaking in public, they can say, I clam up often when I give a speech, or I dry up when I make a toast, something like that. If you come up with an idea, then you just have an idea, or you come up with a proposal, or you come up with a suggestion, or you come up with a plan. It literally just means create in this sense. And if you don't know this one, believe me, you need to know this one, because this one's so common. I hear it every single day. I hear it in loads of different TV shows. So if you don't know it, you're missing out on a word which is very often used. So please remember this. Come up with a suggestion, come up with an idea. Now, if you lay something out, it's exactly the same as set out. This actually has two meanings. It has a very physical meaning of lay your stuff. Yeah, maybe you've got all your stuff in your bag, you get to work and you lay all your stuff out on your desk. You lay your pens there, and you lay your phone there, and you lay your books there. You're laying everything out on your desk. You're setting everything out on your desk. So one meaning is arrange, in a very physical sense. But the second meaning of layout is explain. And I would say it means metaphorically arrange. When you lay out your plan for the project, you're explaining all the different parts of your plan, and you arrange them so that everybody can understand all the different parts of your plan. And you could even say he set out his proposal, meaning he explained it to everyone at the meeting. Yeah, he set out all the different parts of his proposal, all the different terms and conditions of the contract. Yeah, you might say this contract sets out the terms and conditions. This contract lays out the terms and conditions. So it means explain. Yeah, describe and explain. Both of these are the same. And I can't remember how he used it in Mindhunter. Maybe he said this document lays out all of your rights or something like that. Yeah, so it's very, very common. Lay out, set out. Now, if you get off on something, it means you get sexually excited about something. Very often this is very sexual phrasal verb. So if you've seen this series, you'll know that one of the serial killers gets off on ladies' shoes. It's a fetish, yeah, some kind of strange fetish that he has, and he gets off on ladies' shoes. Okay, if you play someone off against someone else, it means you try to encourage two people to compete or fight, and you're going to try and get some kind of advantage out of that competition or fight. It's a little bit like the old saying, I imagine it's probably from the Latin, divide and rule. yeah, if you know this saying, divide and rule, the idea is that if you want to rule over a group of people, you need to split that group of people up and make them fight each other. Because when they're fighting each other, you'll be able to control them. As two different enemies, you'll be able to control them in some kind of way. And so you are playing one group off against the other group. Another example here that may help you is with children. Children are corrupt, like all of us are, and because they're corrupt, they will very often play their mother off against their father. And they'll see that if they can use the fight or the competition between their mother and father, they might be able to use that to their own advantage. So they might say to their Dad, can I play on the computer? Mum said I could, when perhaps Mum didn't say that, and so the Dad will allow them, and they're playing their mother off against their father. They're using the battle between the Mum and Dad to their own advantage. So it's I think in Mindhunter, by the way, there was an internal investigation, and they tried to interview the two FBI agents who were colleagues. They interviewed them separately, and they tried to play one FBI agent off against the other FBI agent. Now, how did they do that? What they did was, in the interview, they said to one agent, your colleague told us this, your colleague told us this. He said that you were unprofessional. He said that you had broken the law here. And by doing that, they were trying to elicit, they were trying to draw out a particular response. They were trying to elicit, they were trying to make one agent say bad things about the other agent. They were trying to make one agent make allegations against the other agent, level allegations against the other agent. And so they were certainly playing one off against the other. I hope I've made that one clear, but really if you understand this, then that's really what you're doing when you're playing one party off against another party. You are dividing them in order to rule over them, in order to manipulate them in some kind of way. It's very manipulative, this one. Okay, coercion is manipulation, it's duress. And so if you confess to a crime, but it was under coercion, it means that maybe the police or somebody made you confess. It's the same as under duress. He confessed under duress. It means he was manipulated. He was forced to make that confession in some kind of way. Okay, slash your wrists is easy. It just means to off yourself, to kill yourself, to slash your wrists that way. Or I'm not sure which way, but it's to cut your wrists in some kind of way. To be exonerated means to be found not guilty and to be publicly declared not guilty of a crime which people thought you committed. So to be exonerated is to be found innocent and to be proclaimed innocent by everybody. If you elicit a response, it means you provoke some kind of emotional response. This is very much connected to emotions, to elicit. I think very often you're eliciting emotions. And there are a number of phrasal verbs which are great for eliciting emotions. When you want to make someone react in a particularly emotional way, you are trying to elicit, maybe you want them to react in an angry way. You're trying to call forth their anger. You're trying to draw out their anger. You're trying to bring out their anger. Maybe not bring about, sorry about that one. You're trying to bring out their anger, or you're trying to spark off their anger. Spark off is more like just cause, but these three are very similar to elicit. So the FBI agents, very often they have an interview and they're trying to draw out different emotional responses because they're useful for them. Okay, to rile someone is to irritate or annoy someone. Very common, this one, but it's not a phrasal verb, but it's just another synonym for irritate, annoy. If you choke someone, you strangle them. And if somebody chokes, very often it's because a piece of food has got stuck in their throat and they can't breathe, and so it's very, very dangerous if somebody's choking on something. Okay, patience can wear thin. Very often used with patience when you say my patience is wearing thin. It means I am running out of patience. It means my patience is wearing out. I mean, wear thin is, it means it's getting thinner and thinner and thinner, and so it's going to break any moment. So very often we say my patience is wearing thin. And last one, forthcoming. It's been in another episode. If somebody is forthcoming, they're very open and honest and ready to give you information. They're not going to hold out on you, yeah? They're not going to hold anything back. They're going to give you that information happily. Okay, that's loads of phrasal verbs. I probably haven't done a great job on all of them, so if there are any questions, put them under the video. But please, use a dictionary first, because the dictionary will give you a better answer than I can give you. And I actually recommend using several dictionaries. So try Oxford, try Cambridge, try Merriam-Webster, try Macmillan. They're one click away, literally. And please leave a like under the video if you've enjoyed this lesson. Please subscribe and get your friends to subscribe, because it all helps me, it all supports the channel. And if you're interested in more of these exercises, please go to my website, information there or under the video, and you can buy all 10 episodes for £6. Thanks everybody for watching. I'll see you all soon.